Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today topic for discussion is lower GIT bleed. Lower GIT bleeding is defined as abnormal hemorrhage into the lumen of the bowel from a source distal to the ligament of Treats. Overall mortality of this condition is less than 5%. Frequency and severity of upper GIT bleed is more than the lower GIT bleed. Lower GIT bleed is more common in women. Its incidence and prevalence is related to specific etiologies. Lower GIT bleed can be categorized as massive, moderate, and mild, three types. What is massive bleed? Usually the patients in massive bleed are elderly, more than 65 years of age, and they have multiple medical problems. They present as hematochezia or bright red blood in the stool. They are hemodynamically unstable. Systolic blood pressure usually is less than 90 millimeter of mercury, and the heart rate is more than 100 per minute. Urine output is low. Usually they are in hypovolemic shock. The hemoglobin percentage when checked is less than 6 grams per deciliter usually. And most commonly there are two causes, the two main causes. One is the angiodysplasias and the second one is diverticular disease. The mortality of this condition is more than 20%. Second type of bleed is categorized as moderate bleed. Patient may be of any age. They may present as hematochezia or melena. Hemodynamically, usually they are stable, and there is a long list of diseases which can cause moderate hemorrhage. They may be congenital, they may be inflammatory, and they may be neoplastic, acute or chronic. Third type of bleed is called as mild lower GIT bleed. It may be occult bleeding, may not be noticed much by the patient. Patient can be of any age, again in this group, and usually they present with microcytic hypochromic anemia due to continued blood loss. There is a long list of diseases which can cause mild lower GIT bleed. They may be congenital, may be inflammatory or neoplastic. What are the risk factors? The risk factors, the most important one is the low fiber diet. Usually these patients who have these diseases, if they take low fiber diet, then they are more prone to develop this complication. Obesity is the second factor, physical inactivity, and the people who use non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and the aspirin, then exposure to radiation, advancing age, and the comorbidities. If there is some other organic disease that can worsen the condition. What are the causes? We can divide causes in adults and causes in children. In adults, the most common cause of lower GIT bleed is diverticulosis, which is in 30 to 50% cases, and then there are angiodysplasias, which form about 20 to 30%. Then neoplastic, which may be benign, which may be malignant tumors, they may be just colonic polyps, or may be carcinoma colon or rectal, and they form about 10 to 15% of the patients. Inflammatory is the fourth main category, and that includes inflammatory bowel diseases, which are the ulcerative colitis, the Crohn's disease, the radiation enteritis, and some infections such as E. coli and Clostridium difficile, causing pseudomembranous enterocolitis. Ischemic colitis and vasculitis is another cause. Miscellaneous 5 to 10%, there may be other causes which are not so common. One is the aortoenteric fistula. This is an aortic aneurysm eroding into the intestine, maybe colon, maybe the small intestine. That usually causes massive bleed which may be fatal. Then there may be post-operative. It may be after minor operations such as polypectomy, or it may be after resection of the gut, resection and anastomosis. Then coagulopathies, some coagulation disorders. Hemorrhoids is also a very common cause. It's a benign condition but very common, and it forms about 5 to 10% of the patient presenting with lower GIT bleed. Then still in 5 to 10% cases, the cause is unknown and we label them as idiopathic. In spite of all the investigation, we cannot find any cause. What are the causes in children? In children, the most common is anal fissure that causes small bleed, but it is painful. Then there may be infectious colitis, inflammatory bowel diseases such as ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Polyps are very common in children and they can cause lower GIT bleed. Intussusception, and then Meckel's diverticulum when there is ectopic gastric mucosa and it can intermittently bleed. Then pseudomembranous colitis. These are some of the causes in children. Regional classification, when we divide the bleeding according to different regions. We start from the anal canal. Of course, the hemorrhoids is the most common cause in the anal canal, causing lower GIT bleed. Then there may be anal fissure that causes only small bleed, but it is very painful. Then carcinoma of the anal canal, although not so common, but can cause lower GIT bleed. Causes in the rectum. In rectum, carcinoma rectum is the most common. Then there may be solitary ulcer of the rectum. Colon, the most common cause for lower GIT bleed is diverticulosis. Then there may be angiodysplasias, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, carcinoma colon, colonic polyps, and the ischemic colitis. In the cecum, usually it is carcinoma cecum. In terminal ileum, Meckel's diverticulum, if it contains ectopic gastric mucosa, can bleed and it can present as hematochezia if the bleed is severe. History. What points to be asked in history of patient with lower GIT bleed? First is the duration of the bleeding. Use of medication. Is he using any medication for any disease? Anticoagulant therapy. This is very important. If the dose is not adjusted properly, it can lead to spontaneous lower GIT bleeds. Inhibitors of the platelet aggregation, maybe aspirin, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Then use of digitalis in cardiac failure patients. Sometimes it causes mesenteric ischemia. Comorbid conditions such as diabetes mellitus, hypertension, heart failure, always history should be taken. Then family history of colorectal cancer should be taken. And always rule out coagulopathy, any coagulation disorder. What are the signs and symptoms? Hematochezia most often is painless, but sometimes it can cause some pain or discomfort. Anemia is the second presentation. Rarely it presents with melena. Bowel sounds usually are normal, and the nasogastric aspirate is clear. Second type of bleed is categorized as moderate bleeds. Patient may be of any age. They may present as hematochezia or melena. Hemodynamically, usually they are stable, and there is a long list of diseases which can cause moderate hemorrhage. They may be congenital, they may be inflammatory, and they may be neoplastic, acute or chronic. What is the management? The first thing is identification of the site of bleeding. Second is stopping the bleeding and then treating the underlying cause, correcting anemia and hemodynamic instability. Digital rectal examination should be done in all the patients, and sometimes it has to be repeated to see if the bleeding is continuing or it has stopped. What are the investigations? Routine investigations such as complete blood counts should be done in all the patients to see the hemoglobin percentage, to see the platelet counts. Then coagulation profile should be done in all the patients to rule out any coagulation abnormality. Blood grouping and cross matching, because we will need blood transfusion at any time. So the patient's blood grouping and cross matching should be ready. ECG should be done in all the patients. Then the stool should be examined for occult blood and stool culture should also be done. Endoscopic investigations. What are different types of endoscopies we can do? These are the proctoscopy or anoscopy, then sigmoidoscopy, colonoscopy, then the video capsule endoscopy, and then intraoperative endoscopy. These are different types of endoscopies we do under different conditions. What are the radiological investigations? Simple abdominal X-ray, plain X-ray abdomen is helpful. Then angiography, radionuclide scintigraphy, and we use the technetium 99 labeled RBCs for radioisotope scan. Then multi-detector computerized tomography, and then CT angiography. These are different radiological investigations we do. What are the causes in children? In children, the most common is anal fissure that causes small bleed, but it is painful. Then there may be infectious colitis, inflammatory bowel diseases such as ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Polyps are very common in children and they can cause lower GIT bleed. Intussusception, and then Meckel's diverticulum when there is ectopic gastric mucosa and it can intermittently bleed. Then pseudomembranous colitis. These are some of the video capsule endoscopy. Capsule endoscopy uses a small capsule with a video camera in it that is swallowed and acquires video images as it passes through the gastrointestinal tract. This modality permits visualization of the entire GIT. It has no interventional capability. It is only diagnostic, no therapeutic value, and it is time consuming as well. But it is very useful investigation to find out the source of bleeding. Double balloon endoscopy is another technique. It visualizes the entire gastrointestinal tract in real time. The two balloons are inflated and deflated intermittently. This creates a peristaltic movement, and through this peristaltic movement, with the help of this, the endoscope can be moved forwards to visualize the gastrointestinal tract. Again, this is a very useful technique, but it is time consuming and requires patience. Miscellaneous 5 to 10%, there may be other causes which are not so common. One is the aortoenteric fistula. This is an aortic aneurysm eroding into the intestine, maybe colon, maybe the small intestine. That usually causes massive bleed which may be fatal. Then there may be post-operative. It may be after minor operations such as polypectomy, or it may be after resection of the gut, resection and anastomy. Plain X-ray abdomen, how does it help? If there is perforation, there will be free gas under the diaphragm. And if there is obstruction, there will be dilatation of the gut proximal to it. Then if there is toxic megacolon, it can be seen in plain X-ray abdomen. Then thumb printing sign seen in ischemic colitis and in infectious colitis. Angiography. Angiography is both diagnostic and therapeutic, but it requires a bleeding rate of 0.5 to 1 ml per minute. It is usually done in hemodynamically unstable patient, and it is reserved for massive bleeding. When the bleeding is continuing and we have no other option, so we do angiography, and if we find out the source, then we can do therapeutic embolization at the same time. So it is diagnostic and therapeutic as well. Radionuclide scintigraphy. It is non-invasive. It is done as screening before angiography. It is more sensitive than angiography. It detects bleeding as low as 0.1 ml per minute. The major disadvantage is false localization. We cannot exactly localize the site of bleeding. And what we use technetium labeled RBCs.